This is actually, before we get a pond here in this general vicinity, what I'm going to do is just keep this mobile pond. I might get a couple more too, mobile pond moving around, and I pour it into the area. Like, this was the last garden bed I built, most recent one before this. And this one over here, I've been pouring this, the tank was down there, the pond basically was there, and I would tip it into that garden bed to feed it. So I'm kind of doing sort of aquaculture, but it's not cleaning the water with the plants and then sending it back in here. I'm just using it. It's a one-way system. Fill it up and then reuse it. What would be preferable would be up the river here, building a small berm and having a short, like 3-foot fill area, kind of not so deep, that would be able to collect some water and then drain it down this way. The problem with building some kind of pond here, as I've noticed, is every year during the monsoon, it's going to dislodge too much soil and gravel and send it down the river. There's just too much erosion here to not have your little pond fill up. So the idea is generally build something that could be filled and dug out every season or every year if you needed to. You want to have it able to get like a small tractor or a skid steer in there at least, and dig out the area for the next year to capture water again. So that way it's a erosion control device where you're getting constant silt and small rocks as a place to harvest them. So those can be added to a garden bed like this. In fact, that's my next step, is to add silt from a riverbed to this garden bed. I want to kind of do a nice thin layer to cover everything with local silt, because there's a lot of nutrients in it. It just may not have a lot of nitrogen and organic material. I just collected river sand, and around here there's a lot of erosion, so it's mixed with a little bit of silt, some volcanic, like this is a very light volcanic rock, so is this whiter stuff, very light rocks. So it's gonna give aeration, it's gonna be perfect. So I gathered a bunch of it, enough to, fill up the back of the vehicle. And so I'm gonna spread it around. I started to spread a little bit just to get the idea. So I'm gonna spread it around here, and this will be the next layer. A layer of river sand, and mixed with a little silt. So we've done the layer of sand, river sand. Now I'll do another layer and water it down. The next layer I'm going to do is peat moss. So I've added a thin layer of peat moss. It was basically one of those large bags from the store. And I'm going to go out and venture and see if I can drum up any more material to put on top of this. Got some peat moss here. I'm going to wet it down now. The video will be short, but I'll be wetting it for a while. I want it to really soak in. So these three, I guess it's a leaf mold of an agave plant is what this is. These are semi-eroded agave plants, and the leaves and the stem part. And what you'll notice is when they come apart, they form kind of strands. And these strands are similar to, say, peat moss or something that a garden plant's roots would love to go through. If there was nutrition, they would just go right through this stuff. And so I was looking, and yesterday I found some dead agaves or dying agaves, because once they bolt, they die. I found some dying ones, but they were still too heavy. I didn't know how to get them back. But the greener, the better. On the lowest level here, I had some green ones. Now it's just these more broken down ones, and I want that on purpose. I'm wanting this because it's going to give a nice fluffy layer of aeration and ability for the roots to go through it. And I really, almost all garden beds now, I really want to get some dead agave fronds, whether or not they're green or they're broken down like these. I want them because it makes great soil, basically. So I'm going to break these apart, spread them around, and then add some more stuff on top later. So the way I separate the agave fronds from the main one is you look for the one that's on top and you just kind of peel it off. These things are pretty strong if held together, but if you go individual leaves, even a green one will peel off. It just takes time. You gotta peel them and throw it. This one's free. So they can start to come in together. And all I'm doing is just separating them out and spreading it around in a nice thin layer. Now I've used thicker layers of these in a garden bed and thinner layers. The thicker you can do it, the better, honestly. This may not have a lot of nutrition per se for the plant's roots or for the soil, but it will provide a nice airy place for healthy roots to develop. You can give them nutrition in another way. But once it bakes for a season or two all together here, this is basically like a running compost pile that has different layers. So once it bakes, the agave, in my opinion, and after testing for a couple of years, produces very, very, very good soil. And it does it just by its structure. So agave and yucca and some other similar plants like this around here are probably some of the best plants to build the soil with, although they may not give lots of nutrients. They give some, but it's not excessive with the nutrients. It's more you're going to create the right environment by using this material. I forgot to mention, when you're doing agave or yucca, they do have some skin irritants mixed in, and even the dust from a dry agave could cause itching on your arms or your hands. So I always wear gloves, thick. This can still, yesterday I was moving some agave around and it poked right through my glove. So even a thick pair of gloves, you're gonna have to get, say, cactus proof gloves or some kind of, stab proof gloves before you feel safe. Just a warning.